Oh, the joys of trying to film yourself teaching. In the middle of this example, computer died. And then I plugged it back in and turned it back on. And it was filming, and so I went through and I finished this problem, and everything was great. And then I went to watch the video to see if it was actually working, and it did film. It was a silent film, though. There was no noise. Unless I can figure out how to fix that, which I don't know much about technology stuff like that. I'm refilming it. We'll see if I can splice these together somehow, or you'll just watch part 1, part 2. We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, reverse back to where we were. We just found the first derivative, and now we're going to take the second derivative. Our first derivative is left with a quotient, so we're going to use the quotient rule. All right? So we're going to have low d high minus high d low. The derivative of y is 1 dy dx. All over low squared. So I'm going to do some algebra to clean that up. I'm going to get negative 2xy plus x squared dy dx all over y squared. So this is where it gets entertaining. Again, the calculus part is done. We've taken the derivative, now it's algebra. We have this issue. We have our second derivative, our first derivative hanging out in our second derivative. So somehow we have to get rid of this dy dx. We're not going to isolate it like we did before because we're not solving for dy dx, we're solving for our second derivative. But we do know what dy dx equals. Dy dx equals our negative x squared over y. So we're going to substitute that back in. This becomes negative 2xy plus x squared times negative x squared over y all over y squared. So at this point, again, we're just doing some algebra. In the numerator, I now have a fraction. So to be able to add these together, we have to have a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply my first term here by y over y, so I can add these two terms together. So what that's going to look like is I'm going to end up with negative 2xy squared over y minus x to the 4th over y all over y squared. So now I can combine these into one fraction, negative 2xy squared minus x to the 4th over y all over y squared. We have a fraction inside of a fraction, so when we do that, we use our copy dot flop. So I'm going to copy the numerator, and then I'm going to change the denominator to 1 over y squared. Copy the numerator, flop the denominator, change it to multiplication. So I kind of ran out of room over there, so I'm just going to jump over here. When I simplify this, my second derivative is now negative 2x y squared minus x to the 4th all over y cubed. Okay? Yes, it's quite the process. As long as we're familiar with what we're doing. Someone just drove by, super loud, scared me. Okay? To find the second derivative, we take the first derivative, isolate our dy dx, take the derivative again, and if we end up with this dy dx, we just make the substitution and then fully simplify. Okay? Hope you guys had a good turkey break. Good luck. And again, if you want to get on Khan Academy, watch more videos. In the book, the implicit differentiation is section 4.2. And again, ask Riley or Isaac questions. They know what they're doing. They're here to help while I'm not. Okay? See you later.